I just have to say, it's so nice to be back here. I don't get to come often because I live pretty far away, but if I lived closer, I would be here often because it feels like home. Okay, who here would agree with me that it's humbling to be bumbling, mumbling, and stumbling? Try saying that. For those of you who've heard me speak here before, you know that I've had my own fair share of trials and tribulations. But the good news is, because of that, I can proudly proclaim that I am one of the leading experts on this topic. Now, the phrase bumbling, mumbling, and stumbling, it's a catchy one, and it's definitely a tongue twister. So we'll see how I make it through this talk. But what does it really mean? I like to define it as the art of encountering perceived failure on the way to success. It's about the inevitable pitfalls that come with every bold action you take to move beyond your comfort zone. You see, when you dare to take risks, whether it's in relationships, business, or just everyday interactions, getting lost, losing your voice, and falling flat on your face are just part of the process. If you don't have firsthand experience with this topic, then I would encourage you to take more daring risks in your lifetime, because chances are you're either sitting on the sidelines of life or you've checked into a temporary safe zone. But maybe you're sitting here going, well, why would I really want to risk falling flat on my face, losing my voice, or getting lost? It doesn't sound too appealing, right? Well, the answer is simple. As you overcome obstacles and challenges, you gain wisdom, you learn how to master perseverance, and you begin to appreciate endurance. Most of us have a tendency to avoid obstacles because we view them as negative. But in reality, they are powerful, strength-building opportunities. Did you know that the most profound personal growth happens while facing challenges? Just as an athlete becomes more fit by doing obstacle courses, we become more personally empowered by facing challenges. So tonight, we're going to break down this topic into 3 separate categories: bumbling, mumbling, and stumbling. But before we do, let's discuss when all of those situations are more likely to occur. And I've narrowed it down to 2 instances. Does anyone have an idea of maybe one? Take a guess. When do you think for anyone it would be more likely that you would see them bumbling, mumbling, and stumbling?
Trying something new.
What?
Trying something new.
Exactly. That's right. The new beginnings. And what I would also say is a temporary loss of belief in yourself. So a loss of belief in yourself often occurs after you've actually taken some bold moves, but they've resulted in disappointment. So for example, perhaps you dared to go for a dream, but there were unanticipated setbacks, rejection, or God forbid, hopefully not, ridicule. But if you're unprepared for any outcome in any situation, your self-image might plummet, and that's when bumbling, stumbling, and mumbling occur. But you're also more vulnerable when you're starting something new. Whether you're starting a new business, entering a new relationship, releasing old habits, or just setting higher goals and more aggressive goals for yourself, fresh starts are a really exciting time. But they can also initiate a subtle backlash of resistance, fear, doubt, and confusion. So to understand this topic further, let's delve into the details of each one of these categories. Bumbling, which is our first category, relates to the art of getting lost. Bumbling happens when your brow chakra, which is your third eye, and it's located between the eyebrows. Bumbling happens when that chakra becomes out of balance. So when your third eye is balanced, you're insightful, you're intuitive, your focus is clear, and your intentions are pure. But when you're charting new territory, it's easy to become confused and lose clarity. When you start off in a new direction, it's not always clear what exact actions are going to lead you to your desired goals. And it can be an adjustment to have to rely on your intuition so heavily. So bumbling is a time of learning how to rely on your own internal GPS, which I affectionately call God's positioning system. It's about learning how to listen to those internal cues, such as keep moving forward, change directions, or just stop for a rest. But just like built-in GPS in those cars out there, including mine, might lead you astray, anything is possible, and your own intuition might lead you astray as well. For example, you might end up going in circles or moving nowhere. For example, let's say that you go and follow certain synchronistic leads that seem to guarantee success, only to end up right where you started. Or you might be following several logical avenues, only to end up in dead ends. Even though it feels as if you're losing ground, you are gaining experience. Sometimes you find the right destination by heading down the wrong path. See, what most of us don't realize is that building intuition is like building muscle. The first few times you exercise, you might not be prepared for the soreness that comes afterwards. So, if you're unaware that discomfort is a natural process and a natural response to getting stronger, then you might quit too soon. Often, short-term pain is a prerequisite for reaching long-term goals. So to put this another way, what appears to be a bad intuitive decision could be to your benefit in the long run, and it's only when you keep moving forward that a deeper understanding emerges, because hindsight is 20/20. So in my book, A Playdate with Destiny, which is over there if you want to look at a copy of it in the kitchen, I recommend doing an exercise called Measure Success. So go ahead and buy a growth chart and attach it to a wall or a door in your house. This one actually comes from my son's bedroom and is what inspired this exercise to begin with. Anytime you face an obstacle, whether it be large or small, put a mark next to the next inch and label it so you don't forget what that obstacle was. Within a year, you will be amazed at how much you've grown. Booker T. Washington once said, "Success is to be measured not by the position that one has reached in life, but by the obstacles which he has overcome." Sometimes, however, the obstacles are not external, but rather internal. Inner fears and doubts can prevent you from speaking your truth. And the result is mumbling, which is the second category. The throat chakra, located right here, is your communication center. When your throat chakra is in balance, you express yourself easily and clearly, you're creative, you found your voice, and you speak your truth. When your throat chakra shuts down due to insecurities, the opposite becomes true. It can be extremely difficult to express yourself clearly when plagued with the inner demons of fear and doubt. All of us have fears, and I would encourage you to become intimately aware of what your fears are and then admit them out loud, because that will help you to overcome them. The two most common types of fear are what? Take a guess at one of them.
Public speaking.
Well, and why? Why would that be a fear for people?
Rejection.
Yes. Basically, you can narrow all these fears into two. One is the fear of failure and the fear of success. And ironically, most of us are dealing with both simultaneously. So to overcome your fears, allow yourself the freedom to make mistakes and give yourself the luxury of time. Avoid being overly critical of yourself. Don't take rejections personally, and trust that when opportunities fall through, better ones exist in the future. So if you find yourself still struggling, then you might want to try flower essences. Does anyone here, or has anyone here ever used flower essences? I thought a few of you might. In my private practice, when I work with individual clients, I often recommend flower essences because they can be used to treat almost any disharmony, including fears, worries, concerns, and anxieties. In particular, mimulus and larch are helpful for healing the throat chakra. And I have an example of mimulus right here. This is what it looks like. Mimulus can help those who have a hard time expressing themselves. There are a lot of creative, artistic, and talented people who are really shy. And mimulus is an effective tool for any public speaker. I actually put a few drops in this in my water before tonight, and I do before all speaking engagements. So larch is helpful for those who lack self-confidence and they're so afraid of failure that they won't even try taking risks. So it's also helpful if you have a tendency to limit your own potential. The third and final category is stumbling, and that's related to the root chakra, which is located at the base of the spine and includes your legs and your feet. So this is your foundation. When the root chakra is in balance, you feel stable and secure. There's a sense of order and stability in your life. Stumbling occurs when your root chakra becomes imbalanced. If your foundation begins to crumble, it can be easy to lose your sense of self and your faith. So in my book, I introduced the Humpty Dumpty theory to help explain how and why stumbling occurs. Okay, does anyone have any idea? When Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, why were all the king's men and horses unable to put Humpty Dumpty back together again? Anyone? Okay, the most basic answer to this riddle is that Humpty Dumpty is an egg. And it's his clumsy round proportion is what caused him to fall in the first place. So anytime you begin a new venture, you are a bit like Humpty Dumpty. You are an egg, and the yolk is your dream. An egg is one of the most sacred symbols in the universe. The egg represents generation, birth, and rebirth. It also represents fertility and the possibility of new growth. In the beginning stages, you are like an egg. You are fragile. Small and clumsy, your proportions are lopsided. If you try to leave your foundation too early, you will fall. Your shell will crack and your dreams will spill on the ground. However, eggs also have tremendous potential. If you wait patiently and nurture the yolk with tender love, your precious dreams will grow into a chick that breaks through the shell and flies when the timing is right. and once ready, all chicks begin to fly. So in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with these two parting thoughts. First, be a fool. When you're in the midst of bumbling, mumbling, and stumbling, it's natural to feel like a fool. You might even question, how could I be so foolish to take such great leaps of faith? But embrace being a fool. To be called a fool could be one of the greatest compliments you could receive in your life. Does anyone here use tarot cards? Yeah. Right? Okay. Then you know that the Fool is the most divine card in the deck. And that's because he's open, he's carefree, and he's lighthearted. And as you can see, he carries very little baggage, right? So the universe blesses the Fool with sacred understanding because he's joyous, spontaneous, adaptable, and easygoing. Now, I'm not suggesting that you leave here and go act foolish, right? Just be foolish, okay? You'll know that you're being foolish if you're relaxed, you're playful, and you're not trying to control the outcome. And now I'm going to leave you with my absolute favorite tidbit of advice. Always be an ass. Did you know that the ass is the animal totem for wisdom and humility? It's the unsung hero, right? With gentle intelligence and a strong dedication to spirit, the ass always perseveres. And this amazing creature is a masterful teacher. It can teach you how to victoriously transfigure your own life. When the ass is your animal totem, there's a promise of outer recognition if the inner potentials are expressed. But the ass doesn't become flattered by recognition because he accepts that recognition is just a natural response to hard work well done. Thanks.